Good afternoon. It's hot. Oh, fix my seat. Let me get comfortable. We are on chapter 3 of God Will Use This for Good. Although it's a very thin book, it's about 50 something pages. I've really been taking my time with really absorbing every word that this author has to say in this book, because it has been helping me tremendously. And we're on chapter 3. If you need to go back to catch up, I've already read aloud chapter 1 and chapter 2. So go ahead and watch those videos. You can understand where we're going in chapter 3. So I've already read chapter 3, just to kind of be ahead of the game a little bit, and so I can have my thoughts ready, because at the end I will be doing just a little bit of commentary before I let you guys go. I hope that you are enjoying this. Again, I've already done chapter 1 and chapter 2 of this short read. So let's go ahead and get into chapter 3. But before I get started, if you don't know me, hi. My name is Maya, and I am your host of Motivation and Muscles with Maya Ting. That's a muscle. I do a lot on this channel. I have videos, shorts of me doing workouts at my gym. I am a figure competitor. I do have a competition coming up May 27th, which is in exactly 17 more days. I am so excited. However, I have a good life. I have grown kids. I am married. However, 2023 has been rough. 2019, my mother passed away December 9th. That was rough. Still dealing with that. I'm sure you guys have your own story. But 2023 has not been kind. And I've been struggling, right? So I try to find different ways to bring to you ways to cope. And not just any kind of way to cope through issues, but healthy, productive ways to cope. Because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's either you're in one of 3 situations. You are currently in a situation, you're currently going through a situation, or you're coming out of a situation. But either way, we have to always keep our necks on a swivel to get ready for the next thing, per se. And this has been just an awesome read. And I am a Christian. I am a follower of Jesus. So this has been especially helpful with some things that I've been going through, and I hope it's helpful to you. So let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 3 is titled, You'll Get Through This. Let me turn this down. You'll get through this. You fear you won't. We all do. We fear that the depression will never lift, the yelling will never stop, the pain will never leave. Here in the pits, surrounded by steep walls and angry brothers, we wonder, will this gray sky ever brighten? This load ever lighten? We feel stuck, trapped, locked in, predestined for failure. Will we ever exist in this pit? Yes. Deliverance is to the Bible what jazz music is to Mardi Gras, bold, brassy, and everywhere. Out of the lion's den for Daniel, the prison for Peter, the whale's belly for Jonah, Goliath's shadow for David, the storm for the disciples, disease for the leper, doubt for Thomas, the grave for Lazarus, and the shackles for Paul. God gets us through stuff. Through the Red Sea onto dry ground, Exodus 14:22. Through the wilderness, Deuteronomy 29:5. Through the valley of the shadow of death, Psalms 23:4. And through deep seas, Psalm 77:19. Through is a favorite word of God's. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flames scorch you. Isaiah 43:2. It won't be painless. Have you ever wept your final tear or received your last round of chemotherapy? Not necessarily. Will your unhappy marriage become happier in a heartbeat? Not likely. Are you exempt from any trip to the cemetery? Does God guarantee the absence of struggle and the abundance of strength? Not in this life. But He does pledge to reweave your pain for a higher purpose. It won't be quick. Joseph was 17 years old when his brothers abandoned him. He was at least 37 when he saw them again. Another couple of years passed before he saw his father. Sometimes God takes his time. 120 years to prepare Noah for the flood. 80 years to prepare Moses for his work. God called young David to be king, but returned him to the sheep's pasture. He called Paul to be an apostle and then isolated him in Arabia for perhaps 3 years. Jesus was on the earth for 3 decades before he built anything more than a kitchen table. How long will God take with you? He may take his time. His history is redeemed, not in minutes, but in a lifetime. But God will use your mess for good. We see a perfect mess. God sees a perfect chance to train, test, and teach the future prime minister. We see a prison. God sees killing. We see famine. God sees the recollection of his chosen lineage. We call it Egypt. God calls it protective custody, where the sons of Jacob can escape barbaric Canaan and multiply abundantly in peace. We see Satan's tricks and ploys. God sees Satan's tripped and foiled. Let me be clear. You are a version of Joseph in your generation. You represent a challenge to Satan's plan. You carry something of God within you, something noble and holy, something the world needs. Wisdom, kindness, mercy, skill. If Satan can neutralize you, he can mute your influence. The story of Joseph is in the Bible for this reason: to teach you to trust God to trump evil. What Satan intends for evil, God, the master weaver and master builder, redeems for good. Joseph would be the first to tell you that this life in the pit stinks. Yet, for all its rottenness, doesn't the pit do this much? It forces you to look upward. Someone up there must come down here and give you a hand. God did it for Joseph at the right time, in the right way. He will do the same for you. And that's chapter 3. And it's such an awesome reminder, because sometimes when you're in the pit, you feel left. You feel alone. And the enemy is so cunning that he plays with your mind to think like that. You know, if you follow my channel any, you know that my daughter's boyfriend's mother just passed away. It's been 9 days. And him and I, we communicate a lot, including today. And he's just all over the place. And he almost feels like, he knows it's not true, but he almost feels like He's the only person who's had a mother pass away, and that's what the enemy wants. To isolate you, not only physically, but in your mind. He wants you to feel alone. And he also wants you to feel like God has forgotten you. But like chapter 3 mentions, you'll get through this. It won't be painless, though. It's going to hurt. It's no different. And I like to use a lot of analogies related to the gym because I'm a gym rat, right? Building muscle does not happen without pain. My trainer constantly says when I'm doing squats, make it hurt. When I'm doing leg extensions, make it hurt and squeeze. I never quite understood it until I began to grow the muscle. The muscle has to be broken, and that's painful. And during your rest, it grows. Things are going to happen. Life will be lifing. But you're not alone. I'm not alone. We have each other. And better than having each other, we have a God that watches us all of the time. It may not feel like that sometimes, but he does. Does God guarantee the absence of struggle and the abundance of strength? Not in this lifetime. So we just need to be prepared. And just get ready. Not to live in fear. Not to always be looking around, looking for trouble. When's this going to happen? When I'm going to get the next phone call? No. But just being prepared within, knowing that we are living in a world that has fallen, right? Stuff is going to happen. Moms are going to pass away. Parents will sometimes bury their kids. Loss of jobs. But one thing we can't lose is our faith in Christ. Because he loves us so much. Why? Because he does. It's weird. It's hard to imagine such a love, especially when you're going through. So, I got my quote. You'll get through this. It won't be painless. It won't be quick. But God will use this mess for good. In the meantime, don't be foolish or naive. But don't despair either. With God's help, you will get through this. I love you, and until next time.